Testing, testing. Timmy. Antimony. You hear? Testing. I don't. I don't. I don't have to say anything anymore. Jason. I am done. Testing. Can you hear that? Timmy, can you hear that? Testing. Testing. My voice is not great.
I could give you this one. Okay, try now, please. We did some adjusting on the microphones. Mr. Worsler, could you try your microphone for me?
Testing, testing. Testing.
Testing. Testing. Hello.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, States of America, Republic
She is one of those kids that I can say, I love you, and she'll say it right back. And as a principal, it's just so nice to have a student who is kind and happy every time I see her. So that's why I nominated her.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you. And then from the Career Academy, nominated by Ashley Roberts, is Bryce Stover. And I believe Mr. Luce is going to speak about Bryce.
Hello. Bryce Stover is the WCA Student of the Month, was nominated by Ashley Roberts in the cybersecurity class. Ashley said that Bryce has taken a leadership role in her classroom. He consistently helps his peers when we are programming. He has organized and led our TSA meetings. He has taught his teammates new skills while they design their board game. Bryce has a positive attitude and a great sense of humor in the classroom. So congratulations to Bryce.
Thank you. We have a special presentation tonight by Teresa Neppel about the Junior Senior High Lego Club.
All right, thank you very much. For Lego Robotics, historically, it's been an after-school club, and the past 9 years now, it's been a class during the school day. So when they go to the next slide, every kid who signs up for the class, this year it happens to be 7th graders, first semester, and 8th graders, second semester. The first thing they need to do, and if you look at that slide, you actually go to the very bottom, it's all about the robot game for class. And so they basically have 2 4-foot by 8-foot game boards about the length of your tables, side by side with a bunch of Lego pieces built that the kids built per the specs, the directions given, and they build an autonomous robot, no remote, so it's different than the elementary, the VEX, no remote control, and they have to pre-program everything and think it through, and bottom line, you're trying to receive or try to get as many points as you can in 2.5 minutes. And they have 3 rounds, and the best score of the 3 rounds wins. Now, that was the bottom of the screen. The reason I put the top up there is because every year we have, historically, it's been 3 teams every year, ranging from 3 to 10 kids on a team, depending on how many are interested, and they actually compete outside of the school day. And so that is why you see on that slide there, you see the project, core values, and the robot game. So we kind of step it up on the expectations, and we had 3 teams again this year. And so they have to come up with a real-world project based on the theme. And this year's theme was Cargo Connect. So this year, with the transition between pandemic and getting out of the pandemic, we did have to go virtual for our project, but we were fortunate that we were able to go in person for the actual robot games. So the picture there you can see is Lego Legends, which is a 2-member team presenting their problem to the panel of judges via Zoom. And then you have your core values. So not only are you pressurized, I guess you say, are on the spot for 2.5 minutes at the game table, competing against other teams, but you're also constantly being watched. And I guess you say that the core value, how did you get along with others? Did you have gracious professionalism? And that is, maybe I'm on one team, you're on another team, and we noticed that you lost one of your pieces. Did we help you out, or did we say, well, no, we're not going to help you out? I mean, so you want to be gracious, of course, and help each other out and such. So that was what the core values is all about. So if you go to the next slide, it shows this year was Cargo Connect. So it's all about how can we improve the transportation of products. And so over the years, I've always let the kids decide, and it's based on which missions they like the best. And so they had to identify a specific problem with the way that cargo is being delivered. The Lego Legends, the 2 ladies you see on the first screen, they chose delivering mail with winter and urban, rural roads and such, and tried to connect with our local mail people to see, hey, what are ways we can work to improve. And so they came up with like a plow unit that could be clicked onto the car. The potatoes team, they chose the helicopter package, which especially with the flooding down south, they were thinking about, with the Louisiana floods and all, maybe if we can improve the packages that are being dropped. They have to be dropped into water. Would there be a flotation device? How would it be? What if there's cold? So they kind of troubleshooted that. And then we have the Lego team. They chose the platoon trucking, which, again, this is part of my learning curve, too. You learn along with the kids, which is kind of cool. And platoon trucking, so when we have companies that travel throughout the United States, your two big semi or four semi trucks that are about 10 yards, 30 feet apart, they are connected Bluetooth. Your lead truck regulates the speed for the other trucks. So, but then there were some problems. Well, what about losing internet? What about the connection in the mountains? What about running into towns with lights and timing and everything? So again, those teams kind of tackled these tasks. So if you go to the next slide, these were the three teams. We had the potatoes, Vera Mohan, we have Mohan, sorry, that's a typo there, Nathan Augustus and Marissa Fields, and their robot was called Tony Starch. They're the potatoes, okay, Tony Starch, and that'll come into play here soon. Then we have the Lego Legends, that's Sophie Keener and Madison Miner. And then you have the Lego team, that's Micah Slayball, Isaac Long, and Connor Plester. So this was the kids at Purdue Fort Wayne. That was the in-person competition, a little bit different than what we're used to. We weren't able to get video footage and such because, well, mask mandates and all those other things that came into play. If you go ahead and advance. When it came to the end of the results, which historically is usually that day, and it was 2 days later, we found out that the potatoes, they received the Rising Star Award. Okay, so the judges were very humorous and, adding a little humor there since Tony Starch was the robot for the potatoes team. The judges felt that this team exhibited excellent skills and look forward to seeing great things from them in the future. And then, as you can read there, I did get the Coaches Award. And then if you go to the next slide, you have the Lego team. This team actually received an award, and at first, I don't think they felt like it was that special because it didn't advance to state. But it's the Global Innovation Award, and this is where the judges looked at the best projects on site that could be used in reality. And these gentlemen, they focused on the platoon trucking and how to improve the signal, how to improve Bluetooth capabilities, how to, again, reduce time, help with money. And so in the end, they became one of the finalists to represent Indiana. Unfortunately, they did not make it to the next level, but they did have 2 weeks of where we were able to prepare for the next level, and it was kind of like a Shark Tank concept. And so they were preparing for that, to present your idea before a panel who would then, if they bought it, would then produce it. So we do have a video link, if it works, of the boys themselves talking. Because I would prefer the kids, but with the weather, I just said stay home. So I prefer to hear some of this from the kids. Okay, it's not. So here's how it works. They have all these trucks, and then they built a model of, and they called it 360-degree cameras of a drone. And the concept is the drone would be like the lead of the trucks. And the drone would boost the Wi-Fi signal for any of the areas that it's weekend. Plus the drone would, and in their concept, I think, go ahead or somehow connect to the light settings to be aware to tell the lead truck, hey, look, you got a red light coming up in, I don't know, a minute 30, adjust your speed appropriately, and then so the chain of command. Now, if they go to the next slide, during that 2-week period of the boys trying to, regroup in a sense, hey, we got this, let's really go for it. Mrs. Evans was able to reach out to Metzger Trucking from Silver Lake, and the boys, took the boys, we went on a little tour. They actually, prior to this tour, had a chance to talk to the Metzgers via phone about their idea and, kind of banter back and forth on the good and the bad and what they could do. When we took the tour, there was a lot of ahas, and like in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the gentleman in blue sweatshirt, that's Micah. He's showing their plans to one of the Metzger boys there, and then from there, during their journey, when they were showing, we rode in a truck, they were talking about different things. The boys were coming up with how it could actually help the Metzger trucking as well, especially locally. We know that they deliver hogs and such, and so it's a little bit different. However, through their conversation, they talked about, it'd be neat if there was a drone, like parked or docked on the outside of the truck. When needed, it could then go forward. So it was kind of interesting hearing both the gentlemen and our young men, talking back and forth. It was like they have some really neat ideas. So, but like I said, unfortunately, the Lego team did not qualify, but all the teams did a wonderful job, and once again, did an excellent job of representing Whitko Junior Senior High, Whitko School Corporation, out there. So, and I'd like to thank the High Ability Grant. A lot of these robots that we used were the brand new ones, the Spikes. The EV3s are being retired. We can still use them for competition, which is great, but the Spike is a little bit better, but I appreciate the finances. And I will be honest, this is my 29th year here. Whitko has historically stood behind and helped support this, so I do greatly appreciate that. And I know a lot of kids have left Whitko and gone into engineering, and that is just really cool. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Neville. Thank you for bringing this on.
Mrs. Neville, if I may just, first of all, congratulations on the coaching award. Thank you. That's well-deserved. And congratulations to all your students. To hear about a robotics club and to see one operate are two complete different scenarios. And the drones are phenomenal. I got a drone once and took it outside, and it's the first time I've never seen it since. How they do that, I just don't know. But it's just amazing. Now, the Metzger trucking idea that you mentioned would be way up on the 5-star chart of a new tech school initiative to work with local business to problem solve. And that's a very high honor on your part to have them doing such work like that. That's really way above the bar. So thank you for that. But I'd like to ask, and with the board's permission at some point, if when they have something coming up that they're going to compete in, is to bring them back, because I'd really like people to see what these young scientists and engineers come up with. It's just fascinating. It's not just a little car. What they do is phenomenal, and I'd really like to have everybody see that. But thank you very much. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a new little thing we're going to do tonight. It's called Headliners. We're going to make this a little monthly thing we're going to do. Just where we kind of highlight some of the students here at Whitko and some of the great achievements they've done over the last month. And I would encourage anyone that has any headliners to let us know, let Teresa Carano know, and we'll get that taken care of. We'll put it on the screen. We're going to talk about it during the board meeting. I feel like these kids are just, they're winners all the way around, and the board needs to recognize them, and I'm happy to be able to do that tonight. So we have 4 of them on our list tonight. We're going to start with the Whitko art students. Whitko's art program has been a winning tradition from the very beginning, and this year is no different. We have a senior at the high school, Willow Deneve, that received a Scholastic Art and Writing Award Gold Key in the 2022 regional contest, and she will proceed to the national competition in New York City this summer. We have sophomore Justine Oken. She received a Silver Key, and there were 9 honorable mentions, which are considered outstanding regional awards. And their artwork is going to be on display at the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, February the 12th through April the 9th, and I would encourage everyone to get out there and look at it, see it, and if you see these kids, tell them, great job. We're also going to recognize the parliamentary procedure team. Whitko FFA's novice parliamentary procedure team was named the Northern Section champions, and they will go on to state competition, and that just happened here, I think over the weekend or late last week. Whitko band. Once again, our band has always been just phenomenal from the very beginning of Whitko. This year was no different. Our marching pride earned a gold rating at regional competition, and they advanced to the semi-state. And then on January 16th, they were able to perform the national anthem at the Fort Wayne Comets game, which is a really pretty cool thing that they got to do. And then finally, we're going to talk about Little Cats just a little bit. The Whitko's Little Cats Learning Center has received honorable mention, recognition for one of the Kosciuszko County Chamber of Commerce's annual awards. The Launchpad Family Friendly Business Award is given to a business that provides innovative and creative solutions to support their employees' family and child care needs. So Little Cats is a new program for us, and it's just growing by leaps and bounds and doing phenomenal. So we just wanted to recognize those, and just a shout out and high five to all of them. Moving on, we will have the approval of minutes. The following board minutes were presented for approval. The regular meeting on December 13th, 2021, the Board of Finance meeting on January 10th, 2022, and the reorganizational meeting of January 10th, 2022. Can I get a motion, please?
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes as listed.
I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from these meetings previously mentioned. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the building reports. We'll start with Pearson Elementary and Mr. Lane.
Mrs. Arnold, Mr. Lane is approaching the podium. Mrs. Kellogg is not present tonight. I think she's taking care of some family business, and Mr. Bundell is plowing parking lots.
Gotcha.
Thank you, guys. So we continue to implement our Engage New York curriculum, and it has caused a lot of thinking. And that is not a bad thing, but it is challenging. And our students are grappling with that, as well as our teachers, but we are excited about that because they are getting deeper than what they have previously done, and we're excited. Along with that, we're implementing a strategy and cluster read, draw, write to really get students to think about what is a problem asking, and not just on an assessment or an assignment, but really in life, what is the problem asking or what is the problem presented? How do I solve that? What would I try? And then really thinking through, does it meet the criteria or does it match what I'm expected to do? This month is self-control, so we're encouraging our students to stop, take a break, think through it. If it's still a good idea, proceed with caution. If not, maybe choose a different path. As students grapple with self-control and lots of aspects of their day. We had a tournament of text in the month of December. Mr. Pavarnik, though he does do some amazing voices for various characters, sorry, you were not the overall winner.
I want to recount.
Your vote counts as one, just letting you know.
That was a very fun game you guys had going on. My hat's off to you on that, not to interrupt you, but it was really fun to see that you put so many slots out to sign up for, and it was overwhelming. I think you had to add some, right? Because everybody wanted to get in on that read.
Yeah, 8 contestants, and then we had some additional ones that weren't, because we thought that Jake the dog might have an overwhelming victory, so we made him just an additional one.
That was fun, though. Thank you.
But it was a really great experience for our students, hearing lots of different adults in our corporation read books to them and share the excitement of literature. So that was really awesome. Pig the Elf, which Pig is a pug dog, and he may have bit Santa's bottom. That was kind of the moment that a lot of the kids resonated with, and they thought that was hilarious, was our winner. We also have songs and recordings that we shared via our Google Drive, so students could see each other in other classrooms and just celebrate the season. And we also have, on February 2nd, that's coming up very, very soon, is World Read Aloud Day, and we have Shannon Anderson, who's going to present live with our students. She wrote the book I Love Strawberries, and is going to be geared towards our kindergarten and first grade, and we're working to expand some third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade ages as well with a couple authors that I know. We're excited for our basketball team. Our girls, it was call-out night tonight, so we'll do a call-out night some other night, but we are excited to get them participating. And then we are reorganizing our PTO at Pierceton Elementary. We have some motivated parents, and I'm excited for that, for them to bring that joy, excitement, and that family back into our building. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Next, we have Brian Nimmer from South Valley Elementary.
Sorry, a lot of this was kind of written up from last week, but a couple of weeks ago, all of our students here that take the NWEA test finished up their winter maps, and so we are currently using those scores and data to kind of help with our grouping of students and to work within our classrooms on our instruction. And just like Mr. Lane had mentioned, we are still wrapping our hands around the Engage New York math. And as our cluster started right after holiday break, basically our teachers are looking at and discussing rigor in the math and how that corresponds to Engage New York and then what the Indiana Standard says our students should know and be able to do. So we've had several meetings over that, and that cluster cycle still continues for the next couple of weeks. And just like Mr. Lane said, our girls basketball team was to start tonight, but they will be postponed and hopefully will be starting sometime this week with their practices. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emmer. We have Amy Adams with the junior senior high and Mr. Luce with the career academy.
Thank you. Our focus for this next semester, we're really going to look at our data and see where we're going to go with instruction. Our master teachers have been busy working with NIET personnel and myself and others, so we can get an accurate reflection of where we are and where we need to go. I'd really like to thank Mr. Luce and the Transportation Department for a couple big things lately. Today, the students did not go out to the Career Academy, so he worked with his staff in getting them to the high school, so they didn't miss a lot of instruction. He and Mr. Benedict also put together what I would call a better plan for next time if it does happen, so that they're not going to miss that vital instruction time over here. So thanks a lot to them. They also helped us arrange where we could have our 7th and 8th graders eat lunch together. It is a federal requirement. They have different portion sizes, so not only did it help that, but it just helps with the balancing of our lunches, and so we don't have kids eating in the gym and everywhere. It's been a huge help, and the high schoolers have really appreciated it. So that is great. Our leadership, we have Mr. Maurer. He is here. He stepped right into the role as assistant principal. He's doing amazing things, working on the efficiency of our discipline and just kind of making it a better culture at the school. So I have nothing but great things to say what he's done so far. You really heard a lot of my positive points with our robotics team and our arts department. Every time I go into both of those classrooms, what those kids are doing is amazing, and our staff working with them, they do a great job. So thanks to the staff there. Let's see. Rounding out the positive, I just put a note here that I'm just really thankful to be at Whitko. It is a special place, and I'm just thankful to be here with all you guys. Upcoming, we have our band and ISMA competition. So band is this weekend, and then our choir will be in 2 weekends at Carroll High School. Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of Ms. Evans said, we work well together, and it's been very easy to really get some things done amongst the two buildings because the communication is simple, easy to talk to, and it's been just a really good thing this year. Mr. Maurer has come on board, and again, just a very positive addition to what we're doing, and the things that I've had to work with him on have been very positive, so thank you to him also for just really kind of connecting some dots and giving us a positive view on some discipline things that we can work together on. I've included in the board report, hopefully lots of pictures that you can look at along with, what you can read about our programs. I wanted to point out three different things, In the construction, when we take a look at that, they're building 6-foot walls, and they're wiring the 6-foot walls or drywalling the 6-foot walls. They're also working on mudding and putting backsplash on those. So then when they go out into the real world and begin some of those projects, they've done a good job in the classroom of learning those skills. I want to point out with the engineering, both the afternoon and morning engineering, it's a fantastic program, and they're really bringing in real-world problems into their curriculum, and some good things to read about that, take a look at it. And then finally, we haven't talked a lot about our blue team this year, but we're continuing that program. One of my favorite programs, my most favorite program that we do here. Don Stone is leading them, and they're just a class group of kids to be around. And hopefully in the next couple of board meetings, I'll be able to get permission to bring them. I'd like for you to meet them and just to see, what great things they're doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We look forward to meeting the blue team.
Yeah.
Appreciate your collaboration.
Oh, and I will say, and I apologize for not going the right order, Mr. Irwin was ill today. I know a little bit about the athletics. We are starting girls basketball. I got to go to their tournament on Saturday, and the one thing that I will say about Whitko athletics is we don't give up. Regardless of what the score is, it doesn't matter to me, because what these student athletes are learning from their coaches and Whitko will last them forever. So I don't know what he was going to say, but I just want to give all our athletic programs just high accolades for what they're doing. They're doing amazing. So, and we also had 2 exemplary reports, one from our boys basketball team and one from our girls basketball team, which comes from officials, and that is always good to come across the email. So I'd want to point that out. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you. Mr. Benedict, Director of Alternative Programs, has a report.
Good evening, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about semester 1, wrapping up all of our credits. Alternative school, we got 35 credits in the alternative school in the first semester. It's an immense amount of number of credits for some of our kids that obviously need that credit recovery in order to get some graduation requirements taken care of. The enrollment for semester 2, we have 14 kids in session 1, 13 kids in session 2, and again, number of seniors, we have about 11 seniors combined in those 2 programs that need anywhere about eight credits or more to graduate this on time. So working extremely hard with them to try to get that taken care of. They're making big progress in there and excited about what they're able to do. In the ABEX program, just the general ed kids, we had 47 credits that were earned in semester 1. That helped helped 7 students graduate early, be able to do those programs through the Apex program, those courses that they were able to get done. In semester 2, we got 19 seniors, 21 juniors, 8 sophomores, and 2 freshmen, so about 50 kids that are taking some classes via Apex. That's about 37 different courses on Apex that our kids are kind of getting some coursework in. So excited about the opportunities that are there for them to free up their schedule to get things taken care of that they need to get done. And then from a scheduling standpoint, at the junior, senior high school, as well as out here at the academy, we're starting our process to sign kids up for next year, doing it kind of paper pencil now, kind of taking them through the different programs. If a student wasn't out here this year, they're going to come out tomorrow and take a tour of all of the different programs that we have out here at the Career Academy, as well as meet with their counselors to discuss opportunities and their future plans of what they want to get accomplished for next year and start that scheduling process. And, again, I think the more that we're kind of embedded with what we've been doing, the more consistency we get with that, the better and easier that's going to go from time to time. Mrs. Whiteleather, and Miss Cooper are doing a tremendous job in the counseling department up there, getting those kids to understand kind of the courses that they need up there, as well as us hitting them out here with the different opportunities that they could have and how those two things mesh together with where they want to go with their future plans. So excited about the opportunity with our scheduling that we got coming up and looking forward to kind of get that taken care of.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think that's all the reports we have for tonight. You don't have anything, Jason, do you? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the superintendent update. Mr. Varnick.
Thank you. I'm just amazed. I sit in my office, and almost daily another check comes in for Little Cats. Another grant has been given. So the American Rescue Plan submitted the Build, Learn, Grow grant to Little Cats, $77,000. Deco Foundation, again, they've given several grants to Little Cats, another $30,000. Micropost gave a $1,000 donation to the Whitko FFA. That was much appreciated. And Parks Livestock Michigan had a $500 donation to the Whitko FFA as well. That's Empower Aid Readiness Network, grant of $700 to implement and market the Earned Wage Subsidies grant. And the Earned Wage Subsidies grant is a maximum of $25,000 to reimburse employer wages for up to 16 qualified students. That came out of the Whitko Career Academy. And then Feed the Children, we have 43 pounds of assorted school supplies with an estimated value of $276.49 and 56 pounds of assorted school supplies, 200 pounds of new books, 12 pounds of miscellaneous food, with an estimated value of $2,681.28. And I think there's been some more grant money come in from Little Cats since the agendas come out that we'll probably see next month. So all of our organizations in there are really doing well, and they are really pulling in a lot of grant dollars, which shows that people are recognizing them as being really pillars and good programs in our society, within our school system, in our corporations.
So I have a question on the earned wage grant. That basically is if an employer hires one of our students like through work-based learning, then they can be reimbursed some of those wages.
That's exactly what that means.
So they're not taking it on the chin for training our kids, basically,
right.
Getting a little bit of help for that?
It's a reimbursement of their wages for hiring our students.
Okay, thank you.
We have 2 students in the school now that are working in that program, our receptionists, and doing just a tremendous job. One in the morning, one in the afternoon.
I was going to ask about that. I saw we had 2 part-times. So those are our students here that are the school corporations hired through the work-based learning program?
That's correct. And that's the kind of work they want to go into, so they're getting the experience, and they're doing just a wonderful job. And they're enjoying it. They're always so happy and cheerful out there.
I don't know why we didn't think of that sooner. That's great.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone that donated, Micropulse, Parks Livestock, the American Rescue Plan, DECO, Just Feed the Children, all these. We really appreciate all of these coming in. There are no public comments tonight, so we'll move on to the business reports and consent agenda. You were given all these to look at, and hopefully you've had a chance to go through them all. I would like to get a motion for these consent agendas, the consent agenda and business reports. please.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda and business reports as listed. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. In new business, we have the Neola policy updates and changes. There are 3 policies from volume 33, number 2, May 21st, or 2021, and 16 from volume 34, number 1, from October 2021. These policies have been updated to reflect recommendations from Neola attorneys in accordance with state guidelines. Superintendent Pavarnik and/or the relative department directors have reviewed these changes. This is a first reading, and these items will return next month for a second reading and final approval. After the second and final reading, the policies will be incorporated into the school board policies.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
I'm sorry, before you make a motion,
Yeah.
can I just recognize Mrs. Carano, Teresa Carano, and the work she's done on this? Our policies, and I'm not pointing fingers, this is not uncommon because they're very, very detailed, and it's just monotonous. It's like reading all the small print that nobody wants to read. My dad once told me law school is learning what that small print all means, but Mrs. Carano just put so much time into sitting and reading through the most mundane stuff, taking it home with her over the weekend to catch up, to get our policies caught up, so we're up to date, and working closely with all the people and to make sure we're caught up. And I just want to recognize Mrs. Carano and her hard work on that, because it's not something that you can just kind of gloss over. You have to read, and you're in the read. You have to read it, and you have to make choices. So it's like one of those tests you take, and the answer stems are, is it A, M, B, or B, N, C? And it's like, I don't know, I'm just going to guess and move on. But she just does a tremendous job with that. I just want to recognize her at a meeting here.
Neola is an organization that assists school corporations with making sure that any policy that's changed is...
Neola is an organization that's exactly right, Scott. They they work with school corporations, we contract with them, and what they do is they oversee all the policies that are tied to all the state statutes and laws.
Okay.
And so if a school corporation is ever sued, and that happens, but if they're ever sued for whatever reason, the very first thing the lawyer is going to ask is the policy up to date? And if it's not, then the school corporation is probably in trouble and is going to settle that lawsuit, because they're just not going to win it because the policies aren't up to date. But not only that, they also go through now what Teresa's been doing with the updates is state law, and every time a legislature meets, they change or update or amend laws. They're doing it right now. I spent all day working on that stuff with other superintendents, because Tuesday's the last day for committees. A lot of good news for us there, by the way. But anyway, so they make sure that all our policies are updated to coincide with current state law. Because if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to be sure that your policy was all updated and tied to current statutes and state law. And so if your policy is out of date, that means it's not connecting to the updated or amended and newest state laws.
Okay.
And so that's the important thing about that. And so it's a huge undertaking that, you just can't sit down and decide, let's just write our own policies, because we don't know if those policies are connected and running with state law or against state statutes and law. So it's a huge undertaking. They do a tremendous job, but it's a lot for a school corporation to keep up with. And Teresa does a tremendous job with that.
Thank you.
And thank you, Teresa. Okay, can we get a motion on those Neola policies?
What are we moving on here?
I make a motion that we accept the Neola policy updates as presented.
This is the first reading.
This is the first reading.
Yes.
First reading. I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the Neola policies, the first reading on these. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. We have a list of field trips. I'm not going to read them all. There's several here. I do want to highlight, though, that it looks like we're going to be able to take our kids to the circus this year.
Yes, I plan to be out to watch the caravan. Invite you all to go out, watch the bus caravan, go down 30. They are going.
Great,
It's
that's awesome.
unbelievable.
Third and fourth grade, because last year they couldn't go, so we're taking I think all schools are taking fourth graders too, because they missed it last year.
Right.
I think this is a highlight for our kids every year. I
Me
remember
too.
going. Do we have a motion for accepting these field trips?
I move that we accept the field trips as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the field trips as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Motion carries. 7.3, strategic planning proposal. It is recommended that the board enter into a contract with Brad Balk of Terre Haute as a facilitator of a 5-year strategic plan for the school district. How to get a motion, please?
I move that,
We will in a moment.
did somebody move?
We need a motion, then we'll discuss.
I make a motion that we enter into a contract with Brad Balch of Terre Haute as a facilitator of a 5-year strategic plan for the school district.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept this motion to contract Brad Balk. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like more information.
Did you read that?
What can you tell us about it, Mr. Bernard?
Brad's a renowned facilitator throughout the state for facilitating strategic plans, which is commonplace in public schools to have facilitators come in and help put together and lead us through a strategic plan. There is a handout that was sent to all board members that goes through his background, and it outlines it very intensely on exactly what it is and how it works and what he does and what he does. Do you need a copy of that? We can get you one.
I didn't see the cost on there. Was it-
$3,100 for option 2. It's on, I think, second or third page, isn't it? It has option 1 and option 2.
I think that's a lot of money for something I think we should be able to do ourselves. I think that's why we have a superintendent. I think you're very capable. So
Oh, well, thank you, I appreciate that.
you could do that.
Yes, but it's hard for someone within the group to do a strategic plan. Most school corporations have facilitators so they can focus on what's needed to assemble it. What I will be doing is leading with the teams what our initiatives within that plan will be. What a facilitator does is puts together the framework needed and collecting the background and helps to structure that so it's a viable, working strategic plan. But thank you, I appreciate your vote of confidence.
We're not
Lynn.
capable of doing that as a school board without paying that money?
The way I see it, none of us have ever put together a strategic plan, especially not for a public school. And this is kind of a big deal. We haven't had one in, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years. So I feel like we should get a facilitator just to guide us through this process. It's not necessarily an easy process.
Right.
That's just my opinion on it.
I believe a facilitator would keep our vision where it belongs, and we're not all going off into 5 different directions or 6. I definitely believe we need a facilitator to help us get through this.
I guess I'm not in favor of bringing someone in from the outside. We have administrators, we have custodians, we have people in our corporation that probably know more about our corporation. I think we could accomplish more by just staying within the corporation, having those people come up with suggestions, ideas, maybe have a committee. I honestly don't see paying someone $3,100 to come in and sit and run a meeting. If we can't do that, then we probably shouldn't be on the school board.
My days at Group DECA, we did use facilitators, and I thought it was a good practice because it got us to where we needed to go quickly. It streamlined it. And that person also had no vested interest, so they were able to keep it benign and also keep us on track. But then to offer suggestions on, well, have you thought about even, this area, not necessarily a strategy by any means, but I have used them before, and I thought there was value with them.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and proceed to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
No?
Motion carries. Old business, we have Neola policy updates and changes that we discussed the last time. There were 18 policies from volume 33, number 1. Those were dated from November 2020. And 15 policies from volume 33, number 2, dated from May 2021. This is the second reading for final approval. The first reading was at our last board meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those Neola policies?
I make a motion that we approve the Neola policy.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept these Neola policies. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have any miscellaneous items tonight?
Just one, that I didn't realize that we're going to be blessed with Mr. Mauer here tonight. I've got such good reports from the high school since he's taken over. I want to acknowledge you. I know what a job that assistant principal is. Next to an AD, it's probably the worst job at a school corporation. However, you have to form relationships to make it work. And I hear that you're doing a tremendous job forming relationships with students, not only a discipline, but to help them understand the need for behavior change. And I've heard from community members and parents that they are noticing a difference, Mr. Mauer, and my hat's off to you. Thank you so much for your hard work there. And again, I want to thank Mrs. Evans. She's done a tremendous job this year of bringing in staff to the high school that are really working hard for our students and making a difference. Whitko's, great things are happening at Whitko. Thank you, and thank you for being here.
I would echo that. I've heard great things too about Mr. Mauer, so thank you.
Yes, and I had two students that approached me at a wrestling tournament on Saturday, and they weren't even wrestlers, but they mentioned that you're visible in the hallways and that they think the attitude and culture has changed at the high school, that it's much better and they're much happier. So just to echo everyone else's comments.
I'm honored to go with that job. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Pivarno?
Well, just a public congratulations to you, Mrs. Arnold, on being our new president, and a job well done tonight.
Thank you. All right, so we have some miscellaneous school board items. That work session we have planned for Wednesday, the 9th of February at 4 o'clock in Whitko Career Academy's tap room. And the next regular board meeting will be Monday, February 14th, 2022, weather permitting, here in the lecture room at 6:30. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Move that we adjourn.
I second it.
Meeting is adjourned.